welcome back to Healing with Kearra. So, we're just going to pull a few cards today and see what spirit. So with this Mercury retrograde and Venus going direct, it could have you up in your feels, and it's like you kind of want to reach out to someone, but there's some sort of distance between you for whatever reason. Or it could be like kind of hard to connect with your emotions and kind of understand why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. You could be especially emotional, just like crying, or yeah, something about just experiencing things that you're not very used to experiencing. So we also just had this full super moon, and the effects can last or kind of linger around for a while. So let's get a little more context here. So yeah, it's like this came out of nowhere, and you feel as though you can't control like the overflow, or just kind of like the way that this is happening, this upcoming sensitivity. Let's get a little bit more here. So you could, okay. So the thing that, okay, something I'm getting here is one thing that's kind of stopping you or holding you back from reaching out in the way that you would like is because you could see it as, okay, you're kind of, okay, it's either you're stopping yourself from reaching out in the way that you would like, or being vulnerable or expressing the feelings that you have towards something, or you're like pushing them away and not allowing yourself to feel the emotions that's coming up. And so it's like you feel as though allowing yourself to get into your sensitivity is like a weakness. If you allow yourself to experience these emotions or give into this by like reaching out and trying to connect, or like opening up to express that vulnerability to someone else or sharing something with them, if you like bridge that gap or the distance, then that will kind of like knock you off your throne or take you out of your power in some sense. It's like then you're no longer in control of the situation in the same way. And again, it's like this came out of nowhere. This was really unexpected. So this is kind of shaking everything up for you. So you feel as though if you allow yourself to experience this or put yourself in like a vulnerable position, then it's like a weakness, and you're going to ultimately like cause you to lose in some way or lose the position of power in the situation. So maybe someone is avoiding like reaching out to you and expressing themselves or being honest and vulnerable, um, connecting, bridging the gap here, even though it's like out of nowhere, they feel so overwhelmed by this, they like can't escape it. Because again, it's like they don't want to lose the power or control over the situation, or they feel like that gives you the upper hand or puts them in like the weaker, more vulnerable position, and then they're in a position to like lose. So they could kind of see love and relationships and stuff is kind of like not necessarily, they're not consciously playing a game, or they don't see it like a game, but they see it as though they have to constantly strategize in life in order to keep themselves in like a superior position, or to keep some sort of like elevated status or power over the situation. So that's where this gap is coming from. That's where the space in between the connection here, is because they have to like feel as though they're kind of like elevated or um, above others in some way. So it's like all of this stuff that it's like fighting. It's like not only are they not wanting to reach out and connect and let you in on how they feel, but it's also like um, fighting that within themselves, like really rejecting the sensitivity, or like they could be kind of like crying over something that happened for the first time, and it's like they're pushing these emotions away. They don't want to feel this like kind of repelling or rejecting, allowing themselves to be like consumed by this, because again they feel like then that if they give in to those feelings or those emotions, then it puts them in like a weak position. They feel like being vulnerable then just puts them in a position to like lose the power dynamic, like lose control over the situation. You'll no longer have the same like view of them. So yeah, it's like if it's flipped, then it's like you don't want people to see you it is weak. You don't want people to see you in like a negative light. So for some reason you or the other person, however it resonates, was kind of like taught that it's like not safe to open up and share what's really going on with you. And so this is coming in as like this huge threat that's coming out of nowhere rather than like going with it and flowing with it. So let's get just one more card. Um, okay, or two. So what I'm seeing here is like, okay, so with the tower, it's like how this was so unexpected and came out of nowhere. It's like this is the pressure of the situation is just going to continue to build, and it's like there's nowhere to go from here. It's like the emotions become so overwhelming until ultimately there's like nothing, no other direction to go in, like nothing else to do but to kind of like give in some way, or it's like you or the other person is going to be forced into a position to finally have to like open up to somebody in some way. Um, so through this process, it's like helping to heal this like sense of distrust of like letting other people in for one, and two, it's like helping you or the other person, however it resonates, to like work on those parts of yourself that feel as though it's not safe to let others help you or to let other people in. So through this, you or the other person can like grow and kind of heal that. And so you're able to show up more fully and authentically. And then you're also able to receive people more fully and authentically. Because if you or them are uncomfortable with like your own emotions and processing your own emotions, then there's no way you could show up or, receive or be there for someone on that emotional level that you need in a really stable, like well balanced relationship. So this is helping to heal those like deeper layers of whatever is causing like the disconnect, right? Is kind of like forcing whoever is the person that's being so triggered here. It's like forcing them to like work on themselves in a way that they've been avoiding because, again, there was like they always just had this kind of like power over others, or they were able to control the light in which other people saw them. So then other people were just kind of like looking up to them instead of seeing like the ways in which they were actually struggling deep down. So because, they're hiding that, or they weren't able to fully like show up um, in their relationships in certain ways, they weren't able to like receive people in certain ways, and so they weren't able to like work on things or like get them to the next level, or like make that more serious long-term investment, because they once it got onto like a deeper emotional level, then they felt uncomfortable, right? They couldn't they had to do kind of a lot of work on themselves in order to be like vulnerable in the way that they needed to, in order to then also receive someone else's vulnerability and make the other person feel safe. Um, so it's kind of like this multi-layered thing here, and the whole situation is just like being triggered, is what I'm seeing. So I kind of want to get just one more card, just to see. Okay, two more again. Um, so whatever change is happening in the situation, right now, it's like you may not be able to see how two things can merge together, or you may not be able to see how the space or the gap that we were seeing here uh, emotionally can be bridged. But whatever sort of change that is going to happen is going to come in really, really quickly. Um, yeah, continuing on with this chaotic energy. Once you can finally connect, it's like then things are gonna kind of like take off and grow from there, move from there. Like whatever happens from here is going to happen really, really quickly. So you're going to want to definitely prepare yourself for sudden change and just sudden shifts overall.